Peace, love, and light, everybody. So, like every download is as sad as this turn of the notch. I am like, okay, is this enough? Is this enough? And it's not. And I've been used to generating for a few weeks, so I just like gotta let it manifest. And I let it manifest, and it did. And I want to speak to you guys about destiny swapping, and I want to come from a learn, teach perspective from a Blu-ray, because this is very relevant for the chosen, especially right now, especially the Blu-ray. People are realizing that they didn't do the work, that this is a terrible feeling. We live in a very narcissistic, envious society. This is where destiny swapping originates from. That's why it's a dark art. It's a taboo. That's why it's not even worth knowing how to do it. It's not good. I don't even like it. Okay, forget good. It's not consensual magic, alchemy. It breaks the law of the universe, the law of consent. Like, it's sneaky. There's destiny swapping, and then there is destiny intertwining. It's when somebody tries to swap fully with you or intertwine their destiny with you. This happens on large levels, small levels. Now, I have 2 other Blu-rays in my life that it's also happened to, and it's happened since I was a child. And for me, I don't personally have a problem with destiny swapping, so I have to wait for the download, and then I have to wait for the learn, teach, like, and then see it through others, and then realize, like, holy shit, that's like what was truly happening to me. Like, oh my god, that's wild. But I used to call it on a physical level, not just a metaphysical level. Like they didn't know what was their energy in mine. They were I would make excuses. I would say they were codependent, or they had enmeshment issues, or borderline personality, when on a metaphysical level they wanted my light. That is the bottom line. They want your light even before you could see it. And usually Blu-rays have a very tough program, like a very rough one, like mentally, especially with like a lot of mental abuse, because we have to master the mind, like the mental, and take back control of it. So like it's a pretty harsh conditioning. So we're not really big on the self-worth and the self-esteem right away, so we're like kind of running through life modestly, and we're not realizing that all these people that like all of a sudden they don't need your source anymore, they're just like done with you, you're just like, whoa. Or as I started to spiritually awaken, the mimic that I had, the first was a destiny swapper. That was my cousin. It was the first one I ever had. And then the second was a friend in high school who, she'd say things like, we even look alike. And my mom would get so mad because her mind was fragmented, and she had no filter, and she was a Blu-ray and an Aquarius one. And she was like, stop saying that. You don't look anything like my daughter. And like, she thought this girl was like so ugly, and this girl had no personality, no self-worth, like a broken home. She really enjoyed like my dad, my life. She wanted my whole life. So when I went through a spiritual awakening, she could no longer mimic, because you have to start doing the work at that point when you go onto the spiritual path, right? So that's kind of where she fell off. And like, before I knew all this about myself, before I like saw that this new age was hitting, and like, especially now, like chosen, they are going to try to they like that thing that I posted on my community board, like, you have to take the woman from a man that doesn't, like, that is spelling. That is a spell. They're already starting. If they're rolling with that frequency, they will do whatever to destiny swap with you. Some will even beat you up, beat you down. Like, they are not sharing that light with you. They're jealous. Oh, you wanted that haircut? That won't look good on you. The next day they get it. My cousin would do things like, I worked very hard for my money. I was a bus girl, I was a paper girl, and then I got a waitress job, luckily, at a Greek restaurant at 15, and it was very cool. But I, like, enjoyed media play, and for my generation, media play was, like, you had books and vinyls and tapes and fucking CDs and merch and magazines and movies, and it was right up the street from my house. It was the only freedom I had away from, like, that crazy place, and I would take my money there, and my cousin would just collect my life. She would just go buy the same things that I would and just collect them and throw them there. And I would just be like, why waste? Like, what are you doing? Like, how not authentic? And it was just, and then I look, and it was like, I would complain to my dad. He was a Aries, my adopted dad, and his ego is, he's like, you should be flattered that people want to be like, no. And even up until I would complain to my last husband, like, he's like, you have a problem with that? It's like, no, they try to possess me. They try to own me. You're not understanding. Like, it's serious for me. It's not a game. Like, I knew something was wrong. I'm not flattered by this. My whole life, my personality, that girl was a cheerleader and into the, I hardly went to school. I was supporting myself my senior year, living on my own. She got class clown, and she was using my energy to fuel that. I've had people steal my ideas, like, as a Blu-ray, and make lots of money and whatever. Like, I mean, that was an old timeline. That wasn't my destiny. That's what my one friend was like, I would be pissed. I was like, for what? I didn't do the work, and it wasn't my destiny. I didn't want that. I got to see what it would look like. It was just a timeline. If we observe it like that, like, it was just a timeline. I was just watching her. Like, I wasn't in love with Gypsy Jam. I showed you guys my jewelry earlier, you know. So I've had a lot of people, you know. So that's on a small scale. Real quick, before I tell you on the large scale, my twin flame is going through it too. Like I told you, he does some authentic shit. Like, he knows the river. He's been driving a boat for his entire life since he was a baby. His father had a identical twin. They were red bones, and they just lived outside, and they lived on Navy Island, and I think they had some Canadian in them too, and he was always on the boat. He was always swimming, and he can camp his ass off. He can light a fire from nothing, and he has all these friends that, like, he's like a true, I know, they're like, this alpha male thing, like, but if there was an alpha male, he's old school. He is an alpha male, like when the dude that's trying to destiny swap with him about the boat, like, when he was like, he messaged him, he's like, dude, you let your girl drive the boat? It's like, first of all, we're married legally. Like, who the fuck are you? That's my boat too. But not only that, like, he's not answering them. A divine masculine is not gonna answer. He's like, I don't even answer that fool. He was like, that dude is bitter. He's got kids all over. Like, he's gonna come for you. Like, he wants you. He's like, he tried to take Mike's wife, like, right the day after they broke up, when he found out. Like, he's a weirdo. Like, he does not like himself, you know. So when he said that, I said what I had to say, and I unfriended him or whatever. I don't like blocking people. I think that's weird. But my man was just like, he was like, fuck that dude. I'm not answering to that dude. Like, if he's not gonna allow that dude to try to destiny swap him, what do I care? You know what I mean? So, but he's been on my ass for a few weeks now. All right. So, and then also my girlfriend, the Aquarius, she's going through it too. She's getting away from a whole family of people. A whole loosh of people. Like, she's even eating different, realizing that how much, like, the person that she was getting away from was trying to keep her down, like, keep her light dimmed. He was the one that was trying to keep her away. And everybody around her was just like, they kept telling her, like, dude, like, basically, like, you know how people don't want to get involved with but they're trying to tell you things, like, he is, like, you are way out of his league, like, she is recognized, like she was under a spell for a few years, like, in fairness, as a Blu-ray. She never lost her self or self-confidence. Like, for a few years she got put in that spell. We all got caught in like a little bit of a bullshit thing, and she let this person bring her self-worth down, and she started believing it. People can only tell you your shit for so long until you start to believe it. People can only tell you, it's like those 48 hours that you watch or whatever, they can only tell you that you were there for, like, they can only tell, like, somebody that they were there with deprived of sleep, food, like, stressed out so many times until, like, was I there? Like, for real. Like, you'll hear people that had made confessions, like false confessions, say that. Like, you start to question your own sanity. And it's like a form of gaslighting. So she's getting out of a whole loosh full of situation. And even today when she went to go and pick up some stuff, the cousin tried to plant a seed, because they know she's a different type of female. Like, they see her light, trying to plant seeds, trying to get some loosh from her. Like, my advice to her these past few days has been, don't react. Don't react. And she would say things like, you know, like, he had it so good, like, he just doesn't understand what he, like, and all Blu-rays say that. They all lose us a little too late. Like, it's kind of crazy, and they can't come back. They don't get the same version of us. We're, like, done. We grow past it, and this one's a really big hurdle. Like, this is a really, really big hurdle. Boundaries for the divine feminine, and getting out of that wounded state and the codependency and becoming interdependent, because this person made her codependent because he needed her to be. She was always independent. So she was like, sis, he almost got me. It's hilarious. But so, okay, so that's my learn teach. That's on a personal level, what it looks like. You know, even be careful of the food that you're eating. You know, they say if somebody feeds you or cooks in anger, they're feeding you poison. She's noticing things like that. Now that she's not eating the red meats and stuff like that. So let's look on a larger scale what body hijacking could look like. So, destiny swapping. So, years ago when I was on Bigo, before the spiritual community started becoming gatekept, we would talk to Tokyo Tony, and we would talk to Jaguar Wright. And this is before, like, it became cool to talk about what they do in the industry or whatever. And Jaguar Wright was still telling some truth, I believe. My discernment said so. At least this one panel I was on. So she was, like, basically talking about how she got out just in time, and, like, her and Aaliyah were friends, like, her and Dame Dash were friends, and she has never been able to forgive Dame Dash, and she was kind of speaking cryptically, and she doesn't say things like destiny swapping or, you know, anything like that, but she's saying, like, basically, you know. And then I think about that uncomfortable time with Aaliyah and Beyonce, and what they were trying to do with Beyonce, with Destiny's Child. She is not MK'd. She is fully aware and a high priestess, like some Eastern star somewhere. So, she, Jaguar said that she was backstage and they were at, like, this big concert, this BET thing, and Dame Dash was talking all this shit, and he was her handler. Aaliyah's handler, they say. R. Kelly first, well, her family first. Parents, uncle, R. Kelly, and then Dame Dash. And Dame Dash was like, Beyonce's the new Aaliyah. And Jaguar said when she heard that, like, she knew, because she was starting to realize what was going on. And then, like, a few days later, she crashes, and here's Beyonce. Like, so that could be an extreme version of destiny swapping. There might be some videos on it. I don't know. People might do things on it. I try to abstain from watching any. Maybe I'll watch, like, a minute of one, and I'm like, you know what? It's confirmation. That's what I'm feeling anyway. And I just roll with my learn teach. That's the best way. That's what I would listen to. I would rather somebody not just have an opinion out of ignorance, out of knowing, like gnosis, you know? You know, so, um, it's just unfortunate. We got to protect ourselves. And man, that motherfucker wasn't lying. Christ wasn't, he was not lying when he was like, you're going to hate your mother, your father, your sister, your brother. Because, like, it's like almost like when you stop eating meats and stuff, like they try to feed you because they feel shame or something, or it's like their parasites are trying to like make you eat and stuff. And it's like the spells are deep. Like, people, I know so many families around here where the matriarch of the family like runs the place by feeding everybody all these terrible bad foods, and they just, she can rile them up, she can bring them down. She's the maestro, she is the priestess of the house. Like, there's a lot of weird shit that happens in Niagara Falls. Like, I posted something about Tartaria, Niagara Falls, like about how the negative ions when the water hits the rocks. There, listen, I'm telling you, there is some very dark, dark occult magic with a CK that goes on here. And I know this only from Learn Teach, and that's all I have to say. So, it goes real deep. I even had one try to get my son with the blood. Okay, so the foods, you know, protect yourself, protect your destiny right now. Some aren't going to come. Some didn't do the work. We warned them. They didn't kill us this time, at least. They can't kill us this time. We were hired by like a higher power. Like, they can't fire us, but they're like, we were warning everybody for a reason. Now you want to latch on to a life jacket. No, you have to do the work yourself. And so many people are confused about what is going on because they haven't done the work on yourself activities. Like Matt says, the daily work on yourself activities. Like, what kind of shit have you owned today? What kind of healing have you done? Like, what is your purpose here? Have you been working on your purpose? Like, your purpose is not here to watch the world stage and pay taxes and die. Like, unfortunately for some of us, it's going to get a little rough before it gets better. And I always knew that I was never going to come into wealth for myself. It was always going to be for somebody else or others. I just wasn't going to be given I wasn't going to be given this lump sum of money until I became worthy, until I came back from my fall from grace. So, try to protect yourselves. You know, if you have to put the Merkaba around your body or the Mahara steel, you have to envision it going around you before you go out. If you are around sketchy people, like it's your boss or like your lover, you can't get away from them, your kid or something, they're bringing energy to you like that. Like, just don't give them any information about you. Tell them nothing. Don't tell them your plans. Work in silence. I think that's the correct thing that we should be doing right now anyway. Work in silence. Nobody can take your destiny. Who cares about what people think and showing off? And I know we're so used to running to Facebook and showing people things. If you're not speaking to Learn Teach right now, just work on you. Work on you. This shit's coming to an end. People are going to latch on, okay? The parasites are going to latch on more now than ever, okay? So stay peace, love, and light.